Yeah, ready? Yeah, ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Good morning. Good morning. I'm still Tracy. And today, in order to try and create a little structure and normalcy in my life, we're going to do a typical daily morning routine. This is one based on a systematic course in the ancient tantric techniques of yoga and kriya. A group of friends and I have done this on Friday mornings for a while, and we're going to jump in about midway through this elaborate tradition of daily. All right. Also, if you want to ask a question, you can type it in, and my support staff will let me know. Maybe we can get an answer. All right. So the sequence starts with sun salutations. And sun salutations, Surya Namaskar, things that are very typical in a yoga practice. However, we're going to introduce two new concepts. One is moving with mantra, and the other one is focusing on an energy center or a soulful energy spot in our body with each one of the postures. So to start, just stand at the short end of your mat. Traditionally, you would be facing the east. Go ahead and work through your ankles a little bit. Come up onto the toes on your feet. Maybe roll your ankles in circles a couple of times in each direction. Continually getting more and more aware of what's happening in your own body. Let your feet settle back down. Notice if there's any place else that has some kinks or needs some movement before we step into the practice. Your hands are together right at the center of the heart, and you use that position to help you notice the calm place right in the center of your chest. It's as though you're looking inside. Find the place of calm and stillness inside your own chest. Some people report visual sensations regarding this. Some people see a still lake. Some people see a swan. Some people see the color blue. Some see a disembodied candle flame. Focus your physical attention and also the energy of your body at the spot where the sides of your thumb touch your chest. Now we'll move to the next position in the sequence where we're emulating a mountain, or maybe what I prefer is a tree. So feel your feet reaching down into the ground like you have roots, and your body is a trunk, and your arms and head are reaching up to the light. Take a few breaths here, stretching. Experience the sensation of you being a tree reaching down and reaching up. And the energetic focal point is at your throat. Reach for the light. Good. Now we're going to exhale and fold over. The energetic focal point here is down at the tip of your tailbone, just above the coccyx. Focus there and feel as though you can draw energy up through your feet to that spot, and then feel as though the energy cascades along your spine through the top of the head down into the ground, and then draw the energy back up through your feet. As you draw the energy up through your feet, feel the two sits bones reach up and lengthen up. As the energy cascades down your spine, draw the torso closer to your thighs. Keep bringing your attention back to this spot at the tip of the tailbone. Now, on an inhale, you'll step the right foot back and come into what we call a low lunge. In this case, your right knee is going to be as far back as you can get it, and the sole of the left foot on the floor. We're early in the morning, so you might need to not move all the way into the posture right away as you limber yourself up. Your hands can be on the floor, or they could come up to your knee. In this position, you can enhance how much you get out of it by drawing the front heel and the opposite glute towards each other, like that. Oh, the focal point for this one is going to be at the spot in between your eyebrows. So once your hips start to feel loosened up, you're going to feel like you're drawing energy up from your base, up the front of the body to the center of the forehead. And then the forehead reaches up towards the ceiling, towards the light. Great. Firmly plant your hands. Use your core to round yourself up and step that left leg back, and we'll come into dog. So first dog of the morning, you might want to move around with this all different kind of ways to get yourself limbered up. Pedal your feet, move your hips, maybe open your hips up to the side. Once you feel limbered up, then come into the pose, and the focal point, the energetic focal point for this one is going to be at your throat. Your eyes are gazing towards your knees, which makes it a little bit easier to think about your throat. Feel like your sits bones, or the center of each buttock, is drawing towards the ceiling and the seam of the wall right behind you. And now we're going to introduce something that's a little bit different in this version of Surya Namaskar. The next posture is going to be with the breath held out. And we'll be drawing the belly into the spine, and if you know Uddiyana Bandha, do that. So on an exhale, hold the breath out, drop your knees, your chest, and your chin to the floor, and slide out flat. Now we'll come up into cobra pose, lengthen through your legs, lengthen through your tailbone. Have your elbows point towards your feet and forehead on the floor so that the fronts of your shoulders lift away from the ground. On an inhale, peel your chest away from the ground. The focal point here is down at the tip. Actually, let's do the pubic bone in the front of the body. Feel it pressing into the ground, and draw the energy up the front of your body. Good. Then we're going to start to move towards the postures we've already practiced. As you come back down, push into dog on an exhale. Step the right foot forward into that lunge. We haven't done the lunge on this side yet, so take your time to get your hip opened up. Once you're a little more limber in the pose, focus at the spot in the center of your forehead and draw the energy up to that spot. Great. Plant the hands. Step the left foot forward. Fold. Focus at the tailbone. Inhale, reach up. Be that tree. Exhale the hands to the heart. We'll do one more sequence through a little bit faster, doing the left side this time. Find your still spot inside, focused at the heart. On an inhale, become that tree. Exhale, attention comes to the tailbone. Inhale, the left leg comes back. Focus at the third eye spot. Exhale to dog. Focus at the throat. Breath held out. Draw the belly towards the spine and come down into the ground, knees, chest, chin. Inhale into cobra. Focus at the pubic bone. Exhale, focus at the throat. Inhale, left foot forward. Focus at the third eye. Exhale, focus at the tailbone. Inhale, tree. Exhale, hands to the heart. Great. And now tech support, if you'll cue up the music, we'll do some rounds with chanting. So there'll be a round where the chant is longer, and we have a little more time. And then there'll be 3 rounds where the chant is shorter, and you move quickly. So you'll be totally warmed up by the time we've done all of that. Tell me when you're ready, Dee. Can I hear it? Oh dear. All right, we had a plan for that.
Om Ravaye Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Banave Namaha. Om Khagaya
Where I can hear it?
Namaha. Om Pushne Namaha. Om Hiranyagarbhaya Namaha. Om Marichaya Namaha. Om Adityaya Namaha. Om Savitre Namaha. Om Arkaya Namaha. Om Bhaskaraya Namaha. Watch your breath for a few moments. Allow the body to settle. Ensure your concentration is on the practice. Om Mitraya Namaha. Om Ravaye Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Banave Namaha. Om Khagaya Namaha. Om Pushne Namaha. Om Hiranyagarbhaya Namaha. Om Marichaya Namaha. Om Adityaya Namaha. Om Savitre Namaha. Om Arkaya Namaha. Om Bhaskaraya Namaha. Om Mitraya Namaha. Om Ravaye Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Banave Namaha. Om Khagaya Namaha. Om Pushne Namaha. Om Hiranyagarbhaya Namaha. Om Marichaya Namaha. Om Adityaya Namaha. Om Savitre Namaha. Om Arkaya Namaha. Om Bhaskaraya Namaha. Om Mitraya Namaha. Om Ravaye Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Banave Namaha. Om Khagaya Namaha. Om Pushne Namaha. Om Hiranyagarbhaya Namaha. Om Marichaya Vichaya Namaha. Om Adityaya Namaha. Om Savitre Namaha. Om Arkaya Namaha. Om Bhaskaraya Namaha. We will now do 3 faster rounds with the Bija mantras.
Okay, so you might have figured out that technical difficulty, I could not hear the music. So we'll do that part again tomorrow. And for now, let's move into the asana portion. So typically, traditionally, after Surya Namaskar, we'd come down and have a rest. So come onto your back. To get the most out of your Shavasana, before you completely relax, tighten every muscle in your body. And if you can even come up into Navasana, do that. Tighten, 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 tighten. And then relax more fully. The next thing we'll do is move through a series of postures where you alternate between forward bending and backward bending. And again, since this is first thing in the morning, we'll do a couple of things that really emphasize digestion. So the first one, take your right knee into your chest and curl your knee up to your nose. Ease off of it enough so that you can lower your head and neck down to the ground. To get the most out of this, you're going to inhale and hold the breath in as you come up and stay up for a few seconds with the breath held in. If you're straining your neck, use one of your hands behind your head. But the goal here is that we're going to put tension on the right side of our belly where the ascending colon is. So here we go. Inhale, hold the breath in, and then squish that right side of your belly. And release down. Inhale, squish, relax down. And we'll do 3, but you can do 5 if you're ever doing this on your own and would prefer to do more. Lengthen the right leg out. Now we do the left side, compressing the descending colon. Inhale. Inhale. And one more time. Inhale. And then the third component of this little sequence is to do both legs at the same time. So you can squish up. And again, if you're straining, put one hand behind your head, breath held in, release. Inhale, squish, and next one, inhale, and release. Good. So that was a forward bending. Now we'll come onto our stomachs for a backward bending. This is one of my favorite poses because it is great for building the strength and the health of your low back. So your arms will be alongside your body, ideally palms facing down. And over time, you might even prefer to have your arms a little bit underneath your body. You can have your forehead on the floor, or the chin on the floor, stretching both the front and the back of the neck. And you ideally want to have your shoulders, the fronts of your shoulders, stay on the floor the whole time. Legs together, and while you're laying here, you feel the sides of your legs squeeze into each other. On an inhale, raise your right leg up, and then lower it down on the exhale. Inhale left up, exhale down. As you first start to work with this pose, the movement might not be very big, and that's okay. But focus on feeling the strength in the back of your thigh, in your glute, and all the way up into the low back, maybe even into the mid back. All right, good. Let's do one more, lifting both legs at the same time. And if this is your first time to do this one, almost nothing might happen. Still go through the sensation of contracting the muscles as though you're lifting both legs up off the ground. Good. Hands underneath your shoulders, push back. And we will get a couple of props if you might need them. So since everybody's at home, you might have alternate props than you normally do. We'll have our legs extended out. And the first thing to notice is if when your legs are extended out, you're having a hard time staying upright, then it just means you need to have more height underneath your bottom. So I'm going to grab a blanket, or if you're at home, you might use the side of a firm pillow. The blanket goes just right underneath the edge of your sits bones, so that once you're there, you get a little bit of a forward tilt in the whole of your hips. We'll be working the intestines again, and I'll talk about that when we get to that point. To start out with, we're going to take our left foot and cross it over the ankle over the right thigh. Hold on to your ankle with your right hand and hold on to your knee with your left hand. And we're going to go through maximum range of motion. You're thinking about your hip socket and your hip joint here. In your mind's eye, visualize to yourself your hip socket, and with this practice that you're improving the health of your hip, you're increasing the flexibility and the range of motion. This is one of the techniques you can use should you ever care about being able to do lotus pose. And you can do up to 50 repetitions. And again, just like with the posture where we were squishing ourselves in, you always want to start with the pressure being applied to the right side. So there's two different variations of the forward fold here. You can simply take your left heel into your body, or if your knee is really healthy and it doesn't cause you any discomfort, you can put your ankle across your opposite thigh as close to your body as you can. And if you're somebody who practices lotus pose, you can take that foot all the way up to the hip crease as though you were moving into a half lotus pose. So we're going to stretch the back of the leg first. So you want to feel like you're reaching out through your heel. You want to feel like you're reaching out through your sits bones in the opposite direction. So think about the back of the right leg to start out. If your toes roll out to the side, encourage them to come back towards the center. If you reach all the way to your feet, you can hold on to your feet, but really just hold on wherever you can comfortably. And now we're going to go into the forward bending component of this. And the foot, if you're in lotus or foot on the thigh, you're going to squish your internal organs with the foot as you fold forward. So that might be quite unrealistic a position. So here's some things we could use to get the same benefits without hurting your knee. You can take a blanket or even a rolled up towel would be better. And you want to have a fairly small roll, like the size of a foot. Your leg can still be in towards your body. And then we'll fold over the outstretched leg with the blanket or the towel in a position where your foot would be. The translation for this pose is knee to nose posture. So you can think about your head coming towards your knee. Good. And you can use your hands to walk your way out of it. Set your props to the side if you've got them. Knee to the ceiling, and then extend your leg out. And you might take a second to see how your hip feels, your body feels. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So no matter what, we're going to do this knee and hip limbering practice. Part of this practice is thinking about the health of your hip and increasing your flexibility and increasing your health. All right, up to 50 repetitions, good. And then you're going to put your foot in whatever position is going to work for your body. Use your prop if you like, and we'll start stretching through the back of the leg. Get that stretch going. Good, and then fold on over, head to knee pose, and get that additional squish of the internal organs, the descending colon on the left side of the belly. Good, and then walk yourself out of it. Move your prop to the side, knee up to the ceiling, slide the leg out, and again, see how you feel. All right, now we'll move to a back bending posture. This one's great for the thyroid, the abdomen, the internal organs, the kidneys, and adrenals. So you can do this 3 different ways. Ideally, you've got a belt or strap, something at home, and you can lie that across your ankles. Hold on to your strap or your belt as close as you can to your heels. If you don't have a strap, and if it hurts your knees to be this, have your feet this close to your body, you can just have your hands on the floor alongside you. Or if you're very flexible and strong, you can hold on to the backs of your ankles for the next posture. This is a little bit different from bridge pose. It's called shoulder pose, and we're trying to get into having the weight bearing being on our shoulder blades. Press down through your feet and lift your hips up, and use the hands pulling on the strap to be able to walk your shoulders underneath your body. Let your chin move away from your chest a little bit and concentrate on the shoulder blades pushing down into the body. Pushing down into the floor. And then raise your hips higher and higher. Raise your chest higher towards your face. Squeeze your shoulder blades together a little bit more. Great. Roll your spine down. And returning to a pose that we did earlier, I'm going to bring your knees into your chest. Roll over to your side. Actually, there's a couple of different ways we can do this. We're going to come into shoulder stand next, and we're going to have our blankets folded up, probably 2 blankets. With the smooth sides stacked together. And they're going to be pointing the same direction as your head. Lie down on your blankets. And then use your hands to check. Are the tops of your blankets right in line with the tops of your shoulders? Take your legs up to the ceiling and your arms are alongside your body on the ground, and you use your arms pushing down to help you tip your feet back. And then you put your hands on your hips and get your shoulders a little further underneath you. So this would be the first variation, where your hips are at a 45-degree angle and you're facing your toes, and your toes are right over your face. And you're able to use your hands hooked around your hip bones to hold yourself up. And a lot of the weight goes through your arms so that you're not straining in your neck or your shoulders. If you practice shoulder stand already, go ahead and you can come all the way up into full shoulder stand. And if both of those seem unreasonable, here's another variation. We're going to hold shoulder stand for a few minutes. So if you're already up, stay up there. And you can use the wall to help you. So in this case, the rounded edge of the blankets will be facing away from the wall. And you get yourself set up so that the tops of your shoulders are again right at the edge of the blanket. And you put the soles of your feet on the wall and then push into the wall with your feet to bring you up. Again, you can put your hands around your hips to help you with the pose. And if you feel good like that, you can see what it's like to take a leg away from the wall. Moving toward that candlestick pose with the hip at a 45-degree angle. I'm going to give you time to do this for 4 or 5 minutes. But if you start to strain or struggle, go ahead and come down to your legs, simply being straight up towards the sky. When you come out of the pose, you want to simply reverse how you came into it. So use the strength of your legs or your arms or whatever you used for strength to bring yourself out. We're going to do one final back bending pose. Shoulder stand's considered a forward bending pose. So for our back bending pose, we're going to do fish. And fish is a little bit of a struggle. So I'm going to get one of my blankets and fold it up a lot. Or since you're at home, maybe you've got some comfy pillows you can use. And we'll do it with our legs stretched out straight. However, if you're somebody who does lotus pose all the time, you can do this in lotus pose or in easy pose if you prefer. I think legs out straight is the easiest, so that's what we're gonna work to start with. Hands are back behind your body, and then to come down, we're gonna twist a little bit to one side and put that elbow on the ground. Twist a little to the other side and put that elbow on the ground. So your cushions can help start to lift your chest up to the ceiling, and you start to take your head so that you're looking at the floor behind you. Keep lifting through your chest, and you can use your elbows and forearms on the ground to help you lift your chest. And eventually you might get to where the top of your head is resting on the floor. And just like shoulder stand, you want to come out of it the same way you went in. So you're going to use the strength of your arms to help you come up. Good. Go ahead and push your bolsters or blankets out of the way and come back onto your back one more time. So I'll give a full minute to relax in Shavasana here. If you liked the practice of coming up into Navasana or boat beforehand, go ahead and do that and then lower yourself back down. Push your foot into the floor to roll over. And we're going to come up for a seated practice. And since you're at home, if you want to sit in a chair would be great. Otherwise, you can sit on your cushion or your block or your blankets. We'll move to a pranayama practice. So the key here is that you want your torso to be uncompressed. The traditional way of practicing Nadi Shodhana, or alternate nostril breathing, is what we're going to look at for hand position. Index finger and middle finger resting gently at the spot in between your eyebrows. And then we'll use the ring finger and the thumb to alternately open and close the nostrils. Close the right and inhale through the left. Have the breath slow and steady and count up to 4 or 5 seconds as you breathe in. Close both nostrils and hold the breath in again for 4 or 5 seconds. Open the right and exhale out the right. Again, for that same length of time, 4 or 5 seconds. Inhale through the right. Hold the breath in. Exhale left. Inhale left. Hold the breath in. Exhale right. Inhale right. Hold the breath in. Exhale left. Keep going just like that. There's a relationship between breath problems, breathing inconsistencies, and neurosis. So as we work with Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing, or any breathing practice, we want to add steps to it as it feels really easy and effortless. So I started this out with 4 seconds for each of the 3 parts of the breath. If you're struggling on any of those parts, go to 3 seconds. If all of the parts are easy, go to 5 seconds or 6 seconds. For those of you guys that we practice together, we'll move to a 1:6:2 ratio using Jalandhara Bandha in the middle section. After your next exhale, stop the practice. If you're practicing that on your own, you can go anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes at a time. And I'll have several different videos, probably 6, of different ways to practice Nadi Shodhana as you increase your lung capacity. Now for the final thing that we'll do, this is called a japa. Think about your breath. And if you can constrict the breath in your throat a little bit, do that. It will make your breath more audible. And we're going to be using the breath as the focus for our meditation. Really think about your throat. Put your attention there and feel like it's a straw. And on the inhale, you're sucking the air through the straw of your throat. And on the exhale, you're pushing it out through that straw. Let go of the idea of the straw, but keep that raspy sound to your breath. Put one of your fingers at the level of your belly button, and the next time you inhale, make that strong, raspy inhale and trace a line from your belly button to the pit of your throat. Have that movement be in direct harmony with the pace of your inhale. And on the exhale, simply reverse. Inhale, draw the breath up from the navel to the throat. Exhale, trace the breath back down. Keep going. There is an energy channel here that we're trying to stimulate and have an awareness of. If that's easy for you, you don't need to do the tracing with your finger, but if it helps, you can keep using the finger tracing up and down. Keep going. Have your tongue press into the roof of your mouth and start to hear the distinct difference between the sound of the inhale and the sound of the exhale. So the inhale is sort of like so, and the exhale is sort of like Continue going with the inhale and the exhale following in an effortless flow, one after the other. Soham in Sanskrit means I am that. At a certain point, the flow between the inhale and the exhale will be so effortless that at times you may hear hamsa, hamsa. Keep going. Hamsa in Sanskrit is swan. And swan is that symbol that people often see as the spot of stillness at the center of their chest. The breath perpetually getting longer and more stretched out, more air moving in on the inhale, moving out on the exhale. Feeling yourself get more and more relaxed with each breath, just going for another 30 seconds or so. And now stop the practice of a japa. Let your breath go back to normal. You might still be able to distinguish that subtle difference in the sound of the inhale and exhale. And return your hands to where they were when we first started out. The two palms pressing into each other, the sides of the thumbs along the center of the chest, reminding us to keep looking for that place of stillness inside of ourselves. Keep looking inward for that spot of stillness. Maybe it's easier to find now than when we first started. Be open to however you might experience that place inside of yourself. And now bowing to that place of stillness that we all have and our ability to take ourselves there. Let's bow. Namaste. So thank you for practicing. Apologies for that technical difficulty. We will re-record that and have it be standalone for you to use later. We'll also have several different versions of alternate nostril breath practice for you to work with on your own. See you next time.